touch me? Instead of saying, can I touch that? I'm so sorry, Teacher Rem, for being late because the ship did not inside me. Instead of saying, I'm so sorry, Teacher Rem, for being late because the guard did not let me in. These are just two of the many sentences that I, as a teacher, needs to rectify. How am I going to correct it appropriately? Do I have enough knowledge to do that? These and more you will know as you continue watching this video. A beautiful CNU morning, Dr. A and classmates. This is Rem, today's discussant. This presentation has two parts. First, the discussion, and the second one is the Q&A portion. And I would like everyone to utilize the chat box for your questions. Thank you so much. Let's begin. Now, may I please ask everyone to unmute for a while because I am going to let you read two sentences. Here's the first sentence. Let's read all together. Let's eat, Grandma. What can you say about the sentence? Yes, it's wrong. It should be, let's eat, Grandma. There should be a comma before the word grandma because the first sentence has a different meaning. It's bad to eat our grandmothers. But the second one should be the one because it means to say that you are calling your grandma because it's time to eat. Now, let's move to the next sentence. Let's read all together in 1, 2, 3. Huge da at look dog. You got it right. It's wrong. It should be, look at the huge dog. Dear classmates, words in a sentence should be in order. Indeed, the way we construct our sentences matters, more so because we are teachers. If we commit erroneous sentences, it can either confuse our receivers or misinterpret us. Syntax is important. You and I should learn more about it. No wonder it is part of our class under Unit 4. What is syntax? Try to express your ideas in the chat box. My dear fellow ELT 4004 learners, we have 4 goals to hit during this learning adventure, and I am using the letter D to simplify it. We have the first, distinguish the differences among morphology, syntax, and grammar. The second one, let's define what a syntax is. The third one, it is for us to determine the importance of studying syntax. It is nice to tap our why power. Why are we studying this? Or why we have been studying everything. And the fourth one, let's discuss the syntactic categories and elements, the phrasal categories, and X-bar schema. We had such a nice and comprehensive discussion about morphology with Miss Donna Bell. I believe it will lead us to the kind of preparation that we should have in discussing syntax this afternoon. So before diving into the definition of what a syntax is, let's try to distinguish first between morphology and syntax, their similarities and differences. First, we have morphology and syntax are both branches of linguistics. The two are specifically microlinguistics. Morphology is the study of word structure. Let me repeat that, word structure. On the other hand, syntax is the study of sentence structure. Morphology, word structure. Syntax, sentence structure. Yes, it is. Now, let us try to include grammar. Morphology and syntax are actually part of grammar. Grammar is the, shall I say, head, and morphology and syntax are the subheads when we try to study linguistics. So first, again, morphology is the study of word structure. Syntax is the study of sentence structure. Now, what is grammar? Let's try to review what is it all about. Grammar is made up of morphology and syntax, as what the illustration a while ago shares. Now, Morphology, the first one, refers to the rules that govern word structure and construction, whereas syntax refers to the rules that govern word sequence and sentence structure. Now let's try to discuss the origin or the etymology of the word syntax. It comes from the Greek word syntaxis, which means together, and tasien, it means arrange. So joining the two words all together, arrange together, so obviously it has something to do about word order in a sentence. It is the study of words, phrases, and clauses that make up a sentence. In short, sentence structure. Now, I have here 3 sentences. And the first one, only Tisoy fights crime. The second one, Tisoy only fights crime. The third one, Tisoy fights only crime. So as you have noticed, these 3 sentences have different meanings because as you also notice, the words, the arrangement of words or the word order is not the same for number 1, number 2, and the third sentence. The first one, only Tisoy fights crime. It means Tisoy is the only person who fights crime. No one, neither me or you, except him, fights crime. The second one, Tisoy only fights crime. Can you guess what the meaning is? Tisoy only fights crime. Yeah, fighting crime is the only thing Tisoy does. He doesn't work, he doesn't shower. Fighting crime is all he does. So the adverb only comes right after the subject Tisoy, and that's the meaning of the second sentence. Moving on to the third and the final sentence, Tisoy fights only crime. So the adverb there comes after the verb fight. This sentence means that Tisoy doesn't fight anything except crime. He doesn't fight Eros or Priam. Crime is the only thing he fights. See the differences? So the word order is very crucial. That is why we should learn where should we put our subject and all the rest of the parts of speech. Now, why are we studying syntax? Why are we learning about it? It is for us to communicate clearly, comprehend rightly, and correct appropriately. As teachers, we need to tap why are we learning this? The very purpose of why we are enrolling this subject and why Dr. Rivika is really teaching us excellently, and the reporters really take the time to research, study, and report the assigned topic. That's the 3 C's. Why is it important? Communicate clearly, comprehend rightly, and correct appropriately. We are done with distinguishing the first goal, distinguishing the differences among morphology, syntax, and grammar. We are also done defining what a syntax is. Now let's move on. Yeah, we're also done with determining the importance of studying syntax. Now let's have the fourth goal, which is to discuss the syntactic categories and elements, phrasal categories, and X-bar schema. Sounds interesting, right? If you think it is interesting, you can have some heart reactions. Thank you for that. Syntactic categories. This has something to do about the kinds of words that exist in a sentence, or simply the parts of speech. And we have 2 syntactic categories. The first one is lexical, and the second one is functional. Lexical has something to do with those words that are high in meaning, and this can be inflected. Let's take the abbreviation VAPAN. It's not Japan, it's V. VAPAN. V for verb, A for adjective, P for preposition, A for adverb, and the last letter we have N, it's noun. VAPAN. Verb, adjective, preposition, adverb, and noun. Okay, so let's define each and give 2 examples. May I ask everyone to participate? And I have here Wheel of Names. Now let's move on to the next, the second one, which is the functional category. These are low in meaning but high in grammar function. So we have here the DACQ, the DACQ, or the determiner, auxiliary, conjunction, and qualifier. So we have 4. Now we have again DACQ for the functional category, determiner, auxiliary, conjunction, and qualifier. So I would like everyone to once again participate, define each, and give 2 examples for each functional category. First, the determiner. Let's have the wheel of names again. Thank you so much. Yay, we're done discussing the syntactic categories, the lexical, and the functional categories. Now we have the 5 basic rules of syntax. These are rules that can guide us how to make a good sentence. First, all sentences require a subject and a verb. Yes, but of course, the imperative sentences, those sentences that command, do not need to include the subject. It is assumed to be the person the sentence is directed at. So, it should have a verb and a subject. And the second rule is a single sentence should include one main idea. If a sentence includes 2 or more ideas, it is best to break it up into multiple sentences. Along the way, we are going to talk about the basic sentence structure. And the third rule is that the subject comes first and the verb comes second. If the sentence has objects, they come third after the verb. Now we have the fourth rule, subordinate clauses or the dependent clauses also require a subject and verb. And the last syntactic rule is that adjectives and adverbs go in front of the words they describe, or else we will commit what we call dangling modifier. Now, if there are multiple adjectives describing the same noun, use the proper adjective order known as the royal order. We have the color, and I think we have learned about that one. So if you have ideas, you can, yes, express those ideas in the chat box. Yay! And now we have the basic syntactic patterns or the basic sentence patterns. The SV, SVDO, SVIODO, and the SLVSC. So we have first the subject plus verb or the SV. Example, the ELT 4004 students read. The second pattern, the subject plus verb plus direct object, or simply the SVDO. Example, sample sentence is, the ELT 4004 students read the poem. So the subject is the ELT 4004 students. The verb is read, and the direct object is the poem. Now let's have the third pattern, which is the subject plus verb plus indirect object plus direct object, or simply the SVIODO. Sample sentence for that is, you can read with me. The professor taught the ELT students a lesson. So the professor is the subject, verb is the taught, the ELT students is the IO, and a lesson is a direct object. Now, how are we going to identify which is which is the DO and the IO? Of course, the IO comes before. And the last and fourth pattern, we have what we call the SLVSC, or the subject plus linking verb plus subject complement. Subject complement here can also be known as or called as adjective. So we have here a sample sentence. Let's read all together. Dr. A is efficient. So there you go, the basic syntactic patterns. Now we are done with the basic syntactic patterns. Now let us move to the sentence structures, the 4 sentence structures. I call this one the SCCCC. SCCCC, simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. For the second to the last subtopics of this report or this presentation, I would like you to watch these videos.